And hello to you, all you beautiful souls out there tuning in to the very first video here on the big channel, the new channel, Gordon Majak 369. The new channel, what are we talking about there? Well, some of you may remember me and may know me from my timeless pop, rock, and soul music reaction channel, which I did there for a couple years, I think 2021, 22. I think I hit it pretty hard. I kind of had to let it go last year in 2023 when I got very, very busy at work and didn't really have the time and the mental space to indulge myself on the musical side as nearly as much as I would have liked to. But I nonetheless did put out, I think maybe 250, 260 videos over there on the music reaction channel, Timeless Pop, Rock, and Soul. If you are so inclined and you're a music lover like I am, feel free to pop over there and check out that channel. As far as creating new videos for that channel, that is sort of on hold for the moment. As I said a minute ago there, last year when I got so busy with work, I really had to kind of pause that and just focus on work. But my work situation has changed yet again, another aspect of the spiritual journey, right? And so I had to put that on hold, but now we're back with the ability and the time and the space here to do some other things. And one of the other things most near and dear to my heart, number one, most near and dear to my heart, is I really have felt the need to do something spiritually here and share some spiritual insights and some perspective on that. So, those of you that know me from the other channel, welcome to this channel. Those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about with the Timeless Pop, Rock, and Soul, no problem there either. I still wish you welcome to this channel. If you want to go check out the music, great. If you don't, I totally understand that. Maybe for some people there's not a lot of overlap there as there is with me. I totally get that. But here we are with something, as they said in the movie there, let's talk about something important. And for me, I guess I've just been feeling, boy, these last several years, I want to say maybe 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years, man, what an eye-opener this experience has been here on planet Earth. And I just have felt, especially lately, which is why I started the channel just now, I have felt such an urgency between what's been happening in the world. And as you know, what happens in the outer world is the manifestation in the outer world is the byproduct and creation of what's happening on the inner side. And you don't need me to tell you that the world seems to have gone crazy and lost its freaking mind. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. We'll get into that as we start to peel the layers of the onion here on the spiritual side. But I have just felt so much urgency, and it felt like I really needed to get over here and do something on the spiritual side. I didn't think it was going to take this long. You know, I got ordained as a minister, 20 some years ago, 22, 23 years ago, something like that. It's been forever. And I really thought, and I think some of you will probably identify with this when we talk about our spiritual life and our spiritual journey. You know, it's not a straight line. It's not the freeway or the Autobahn. It's a twisty, turny, winding mountain road, and you never really know sometimes what some of the things that are going to pop up and challenge you and take you in different directions. But this was something that, going back, seriously, I'm going to say 25 years, I really thought that I would have done something in another form of expression prior to this. But, you know, everything worked out the way it did for a reason, and we'll get more into that as we go along, too. I'll share with you guys some of the personal process. That's going to be a big part of this channel, actually. I'm not going to, I don't have a set format here as far as, well, today I'm going to talk about meditation, and in the next episode I'm going to be talking about, the soul, or this, that, or the next thing, any of these spiritual ideas, spiritual concepts. I am going to freewheel this thing just like I did on the music side and follow my spiritual muse, not my musical muse, and what strikes me at the time and what's on my heart and what's on my soul, that's what we will talk about on this channel. It's not a super tight format here. It's going to be a little bit loosey-goosey, certainly in the beginning while I figure things out. But as I said, I really felt the urgency to get started. And so with that, let's get started. Now, today, just really quickly, I want to kind of give you guys a little bit of just an intro here of what's been sort of on my mind, spiritually speaking, just very recently. And I was talking with a friend. This is where it started a couple weeks ago. I was talking with a friend, and she said something about we're the creators of our lives, or the co-creators of our lives. And she just kind of said it in passing, and it stuck in the back of my mind, and I'd been thinking about that. It's not a new concept, of course, the idea that we create our lives or co-create our lives with spirit, with God, with the universe, however you want to conceptualize that. It's not an outrageous concept, of course, being co-creators, but it got me to thinking about something that I'd been experiencing recently on my daily walks. And that was this question, and this is the subject of the video today, which we'll spend a few minutes getting into here. The subject and the question was, who is responsible for our lives? Who is responsible for my life? I'll just talk about myself. Who created this life? Am I a victim? Did it come from God? Was it the devil, if you believe in the devil? Was it my ego? Was it my soul? Was it my higher self? Was it my guides? Am I destined to do this, that, or the next thing? Who really is, when it comes right down to it, who or what, I suppose, really is responsible for the state of my life, or of our lives in the collective? Who is responsible? Who did this? who can we point to that created this set of affairs that we see not only in the world but in our personal life? And here's what I want to tell you about that. Here's a few of sort of my baseline, no pun intended for the music fans out there. Here's sort of the baseline one of the baseline foundational aspects of my belief system as I have come to know it and come to know myself. Now, some people will say, you'll hear people talking about the concept of the soul. I'm just going to say this off the top of my head as clearly as I can. I don't believe that Gordon Majak, here I am, this biological entity sitting here in front of the camera talking to you right now. Gordon Majak. Here I am. This is me, Gordon Majak, 369. I don't believe that Gordon Majak has a soul. Yeah, I wouldn't be the first person to say that, right? I don't believe I have a soul. I don't believe Gordon Majak possesses a soul. Let me be very clear about what I do believe. I believe that this three-dimensional physical body that's sitting here talking to you right now is the physical manifestation, one of many, I might add, one of countless physical manifestations, one of countless incarnations on the part of a particular soul. So here I am, Gordon Majak. That's my identity in this lifetime on planet Earth. But I don't think Gordon Majak has a soul. Let me be clear. Rather, I think there is a soul, and I think Gordon Majak is an aspect of that soul. Now, could we say that that's my soul? Yeah, for the sake of the language and not to overcomplicate things here, yes, I guess you could say that is my soul. But I really think to be more accurate, you would say that Gordon Majak belongs to that soul rather than that soul belonging to Gordon Majak. And that's because I believe in reincarnation. I believe Gordon Majak is one aspect of this soul. Now, I don't know the identity of that soul. I'm sure it must have a name. It must have a number, a name or a number, I should say. That higher part of me that is my soul, it must have some sort of an identity, right? Maybe at some point in the future, I will come to know the name of my soul. I would like to know that. I'm sure every soul must have a name, right? There's a signature. There's an energy signature. We have auras. We have the energetic signature that belongs to not only our physical bodies, but to our souls. So I believe Gordon Majak is one tiny aspect, one tiny expression, one tiny incarnation of this larger soul, which has existed forever. It is an eternal, immortal soul. And that I also believe in turn that soul, whatever its name or number may be, and I do hope we find that out. I think we will at some point along the way here. In turn, that soul is an aspect of the larger divine presence, which you could call God or goddess or all that is, or the first cause, or the source, or the prime mover, or on and on and on. There are a million conceptual names for God, the universe, whatever term you want to use. So I tend to look at it that way. I don't look at it as God created Gordon Majak, and by the way, Gordon Majak has a soul. I look at it as God created souls, and those souls have individual incarnations, individual expressions. The personalities, this human being here is just an aspect of the soul, just like the soul is an aspect of God. Now, when you put that all together in the big picture, what does that mean? If the soul is one with God and is from God, and I'm just going to use the term God here to keep things simple and clean conceptually, feel free to plug in another word if there's another term that you like better. I'll just use God to keep it simple. If God created all of our souls, immortal souls, and we're all aspects of God, then Gordon Majak is an aspect of that soul. Okay, so that's sort of a baseline foundational belief or knowing, however you want to label it. Again, I really want to avoid as much as possible these terms and concepts that just tend to divide people and create more baggage and don't really get any closer to the truth of things. But if that's true, and it certainly is for me, then we go back to our question. Okay? If Gordon Majak, if the soul that Gordon Majak is a part of is also a part of God, and Gordon's a part of the soul and the soul is a part of God, then Gordon's a part of God. So now we have three entities, three parties, even though these are terrible terms to apply to this conversation because it's so much more vast and expansive than that. But now let's go back to that first question that I asked. Okay, we have God, we have the soul, my soul, not Gordon Majak's soul, but the soul that Gordon Majak is a current expression of. And we have Gordon Majak, this physical three-dimensional being here in the world. So, back to the question, who's responsible? Who created this life? When I look around me at the life I'm living today here in the 3D world, who is responsible for this? Did God create this and put me here? Did my soul create it and I just sort of went along with it? Did Gordon Majak, the ego dimension that is Gordon Majak, is Gordon Majak solely responsible for this? Is a combination of all three? It's a pretty tricky question, isn't it? Now, I wrote something a while back, and I found this, and I just, to be honest with you, I had forgotten that I wrote this. But I found it, and it seemed to apply perfectly to what we are talking about today. And it says this: you're either allowing it or you're creating it. The greatest challenge is to accept your personal responsibility for the way things are. And we are talking here about living from your higher self, your soul, your immortal spirit, rather than living from your current identity in this life. And to be clear about that, this is what this comes down to. It's the difference between acting from the limited perspective of Gordon with his 65 years of life experiences and acting from the eternal perspective of my higher self, the soul, which has experienced many lives. Now, to my way of thinking, if given what I said a few minutes ago about sort of this baseline foundational belief that I have, that this soul is not, the soul that I identify with is not Gordon Majak's soul, but rather that is an aspect of God, a divine aspect of God, part and parcel of God, that my soul is an aspect of God experiencing this three-dimensional world, incarnating and experiencing this three-dimensional world and acting out in this physical world. And Gordon Majak is just the soul may be the vehicle, but the Gordon Majak, the ego and the personality that is Gordon Majak, is just part of that. We go back to that question then of who's responsible. And this is something that has haunted me for the longest time, because just as I said there, the greatest challenge is to accept your personal responsibility, right? It's easy to accept responsibility for all the good things in our life, right? When we have success, or we have prosperity and abundance, or we have love and peace of mind and all of the other great things that can be a part of our lives, it's easy to take credit for that stuff. Oh yeah, I did that. I made that money. I created that business. I did that job. That was me. I did that. It's pretty easy to take credit when times are good and when things are good. But of course, as you guys already know, I'm sure from your own spiritual journeys, it's another thing entirely to look at the parts of your life that aren't working, or that aren't as beautiful and joyful and abundant and prosperous and loving and peaceful and joyful and all of that. It's quite another thing to look at all that stuff and take responsibility for that. I think most of us, if we were going to be completely honest with each other, or not with each other, but with ourselves, and I guess by extension with each other, if we were going to be completely honest, we would much rather take credit for all the good stuff and blame all the bad stuff on someone else. And we could even blame the bad stuff, if you, depending on what your spiritual beliefs are and what your how you relate to the to God or to the source or the divinity, the consciousness of the world. Depending on how you relate to that, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's done this, you may even be blaming. You're not going to blame yourself for that crap. It's much easier to blame other people. Of course, that's the first thing. Well, no kidding. Yeah, that was them that did that. They're the ones that sabotaged me and stabbed me in the back and brought me down, and it's their fault for not believing in me. And it's because of them that my life is like this, whoever they are. And they might be God, it might be Satan, the devil, it might be your parents, it might be your spouse, it's your children, it's your neighbor, it's your friends, it's those backstabbing friends. They're the ones that did this to me. Yeah, it's easy to take credit for the good times, but it's a real mother to step up to the plate and take not the credit, but the responsibility for when things are not a reflection of what our highest ideals and our highest dreams might be for ourselves and for our own lives, right? It's a very complicated process. But again, I go back to this idea of you're either allowing it or you're creating it. The greatest challenge is to accept your personal responsibility for the way things are. It's the difference between acting from the limited perspective of Gordon and acting from the eternal perspective of my higher self, the soul, which has experienced many lives. So this is a subject that I just wanted to sort of scratch the surface on this here today in the very first video. Just wanted to sort of scratch it a little bit. And I will go into greater detail of this, of how this process has sort of unfolded for me here over the past couple years. And I'll share my insights and my perspectives with you guys, and sort of give you an idea of how I worked through some of these questions. And it continues on. It's not like it's all done now and I don't have to think about it anymore. As you guys know, on the spiritual journey, it is a constant unfoldment. It always has been. I would maintain it always has been, and it always will be. And it continues in every moment and every millisecond of every lifetime we've ever lived. All of it. It never stops unfolding, right? And isn't that, when it comes right down to it, isn't that really kind of the beauty and the magic and the part of the divine, whatever you want to call it, God, goddess, all that is, the source? Isn't that really part of the magic that we almost is so beautiful and so profound that it's really hard to it's hard to just hang on to that. And hard to believe it because it's so huge, it's so big and so beautiful. The idea that it never stops. Eternity, immortal life, eternal life. You know, I saw something, and this will definitely be in some of the videos I will do going forward. I saw something in the MJ12 documents a few years ago, the Majestic 12 documents. Some of you know what that is, some of you don't. We'll get into it deeper at a later time in another video for sure, because there's so much in there that I took away. But one of the things that was in the MJ12 documents that I found incredibly profound was this idea that we are, the term that they used was ISBE. Let me see if I can write this down here. ISBE. I need a piece of paper. What is an ISBE? What is an ISBE? We are ISBEs. What is an ISBE? Well, I will tell you. An ISBE, you like this high-tech presentation here. And the is stands for immortal spirit. Interesting. What's the B? This is such a high-tech operation, isn't it? No expense was spared in this production of this video, I want you folks to know. Wow. Immortal spirit, biological entity. Here's the biological entity, this dude named Gordon Majak. The immortal spirit is that soul. The soul that Gordon Majak is an aspect of. The soul that has incarnated a gazillion times under a gazillion different names. Gordon Majak's just one of many, over so many millenniums. Who knows how many lifetimes, right? But this was a term that I first saw in the MJ12 documents, and I just thought this is such a powerful thing. And I will, as I said, get much further into this. But this is something to complicate. Don't complicate it. I don't want to complicate it. I want it to be simple. Contemplate. ISBE. Immortal spirit. Biological entity. So it takes us back to this question and how to answer this question of who is responsible for this life? Who created my life? This, when I look around here, who did this? Who's responsible for this? As my friend said, we are the creators and the co-creators, because we do have to acknowledge the existence of the soul and of the divine source. And if Gordon Majak is just an aspect of the soul, and the soul is an aspect of God, and God is that perfect union, the total consciousness, beyond time, beyond space, beyond matter, beyond all of it, well, there's a lot to consider there about who is truly responsible for creating this world, this life, the life that I'm living, the life that you're living. There's a lot that goes into this question, right? And I want to start peeling off the layers of this particular onion, as it were, and see if we can get to the bottom of this. And I will tell you in the next video, hopefully here, if not tomorrow, in the next few days, I'm going to talk about what I have discovered here in the past few years of how to differentiate at various times of whose voice, whose will, whose mind, whose spirit, for lack of a better word, is directing this show. Who's guiding this production here? Who is responsible for this? We will get to that in the next video. In the meantime, I know I rambled and ranted and raved just like I always did back in the old days on the music channel. People used to say, don't talk so much. You talk too much. Play the song. Well, now there's no song to play, so I'm just going to do nothing but talk. But we're going to get into some really juicy, meaningful stuff. And as I said earlier, you know, the impetus for this channel goes back many years. Things take time, and it took me a while to get all the way around to this and wanting to do this. But as I said, folks, I will tell you, man, these next few years, these next several years on planet Earth are going to be unlike anything you have ever seen, ever conceived, ever even dreamed about. It is coming, and we need to be ready. And that is really where this urgency comes from here. I want to serve you guys. I want to serve humanity. I know I came here in this lifetime to serve. I know I came here to teach. It may have taken a while, but I'm going to get there. And I look forward to engaging with you guys and communicating with you guys and sharing this journey with you. It is so profound, as you all know. You don't need me to tell you that. It's such a profound journey. It's such a profound life, this spiritual path, the way it unfolds in our life, the way it touches every aspect of our life. What can we even say, right? We'll try to keep it simple. We'll try to keep the videos coming after today shorter. I wanted to kind of get into a little bit of a longer one today because there was so much to say. Sort of some of the background and the backstory and where I've been going and what I've been doing. So I wanted to get to all that today, but in the future, I will definitely keep the videos shorter. But I look forward to working with all of you. At some point, we will bring some counseling or guidance sessions into the mix. Haven't quite figured out exactly how I'm going to do that yet, but that is definitely on the menu as we go forward. But in the meantime, from my heart and my soul, it is my very special honor to be here with you all in this spiritual space and to share this journey with you. And as I said, where we are going, if you think where we've been the last however many years, handful of years, if you think where we've been is crazy, wait till you see where we are going. And I will, of course, share my visions on that with you as well in future episodes. Thank you guys so much for being patient and listening to me ramble on here. The first one, you know, is always a little bit hard when you're just coming out of the gate with a new concept and a new video, a new channel, all of that stuff. But so much exciting stuff to come. I can't wait to see you guys and to talk with you guys and work with you. And from my heart and my soul to yours, Let's do this together, okay? Let's peel this onion together, and let's get work our way through some pretty weighty subjects here, and hopefully I will make it entertaining and fun and interesting and stimulating. And at the end of the day, you know what it really comes down to is transformation. I am going to change my life. I'm right in the middle of doing it. I know so many of you out there have that urge to change your life as well. Let's do it together. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Thanks again for being patient with me today. See you soon.